Okay. Hello and welcome to the second half of the 2020 Women's World Championship match here in Vladivostok. So we finished the first half, the first six games in Shanghai, and the scores are tied 3 each, and now we're seeing the ceremonial first move there was made a minute ago by the Minister of Sport for Primorsky Krai, and we are about to begin. So welcome everyone. I am Nigel Short, and I'm joined by the lovely
Alexandra Kosareva.
And Sasha is she stepped in at very short notice to help me today. In fact, from tomorrow we will have the former women's world champion Hu Yifan, and she will come and join me at the commentary. And I was told I had to do the commentary myself today, and I said, please find me.
Jump in and help me.
Find me a beautiful partner. And Sasha has stepped in and to join me. So,
my pleasure.
So Sasha, you're a student here at the university. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I'm a master's student studying international relations in the Far Eastern Federal University, currently the first year.
Okay, great. And the big question, do you play chess at all?
So, interesting question. I used to play when I was a child at 7 years with my dad, so we used to spend some time playing chess actually, but unfortunately for now I don't. But actually when I received this invitation I was really excited because I really appreciate this game and those people who do success in this way.
Brilliant. So, good. This is very good that you're with me, because the vast majority of people who are watching this broadcast are not grandmasters. So they are ordinary chess enthusiasts like yourselves. So feel free to join in and ask whatever questions you want. So I just want to say something a little bit technical about the match. Normally the colors alternate, strictly alternate during the here they are. They're about to begin. And e4, which is not actually Zhu Wenjun's main move, but which he's already played a couple of times in Shanghai. So, and Goryachkina has played e5, which he has done on all the previous occasions. And I'm just wondering now, knight f3, knight c6, I'm predicting, as we've had before, and I wonder whether we're going to get another Spanish opening. The technical thing I wanted to say about the colours is that normally the colours alternate during the match, but it's been a recent trend in some of the World Championship matches that they reverse the sequence halfway through. So when Jun, she was white in the last game, actually got into considerable difficulty, and she's playing white again in this. Quite frankly, I would prefer to have Goryachkina's color sequence, because she started with white. You've got a chance to go ahead, having that small advantage of the first move, and it's always good to be white in the last round. Here we see the photographers, the journalists gathered around the board. They will be evicted in short order So I think they are permitted to have so they will be evicted because they're permitted just 5 minutes of taking photographs. Okay. So, good. D3. Now, this is a difference. This is a difference between the two previous games that we had in this opening. In both occasions, on both occasions, White, if we just go back, castled kingside, and knight takes e4 happened, which is the I suppose the main line of the Berlin variation. But here she's just played in the simplest way of defending her e-pawn, which is that is a sensible approach, and she didn't get anything really in the two previous games, so it makes sense to vary the choice. So there's a brief pause, not too much. Bishop c5. This is the most popular idea. And it's a question now what White will do. White's got various options. Bishop takes c6 is one of them. I'm just wondering whether she's going to do that or not. So I shall get my database up and running, and I'll be able to tell you exactly in a minute what are the most popular choices in this position. Yeah. So tell me, Alexandra, what would you do in this situation? What would you, whilst I'm looking at this, what would you like to do as an amateur player?
Let me think.
Development is normally a good idea, but in fact she's made a choice of bishop takes c6, so she has made this this capture, which is one of the most popular choices, and has been played over 1,000 times actually, and even by of course by the world champion Magnus Carlsen against others. So there are a lot of high-level current games with this line from last year, including by players like Anand, Vishy Anand, the 5 times Indian world champion, Nepomniachtchi, and Fabiano Caruana, Nakamura, big names in chess who have played this. She took a little bit of time to reply. D takes c6 is actually by far the most common way to play, opening up the diagonal for her bishop on c8. So this is a bit of a parting of the ways, and there seems to be no clear consensus as to what is the best choice for White. So there are different plans, different ideas, and I'm going to give you a chance again
Okay.
to tell me what you would like to do.
So okay, As an amateur player, not even an amateur, I would use bishop probably. From F.
That's from C1?
No. From F3.
So, that's a knight.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
White is now castled, and so it is black's choice. Actually, here I should just point out there were different options there to put the bishop here, for example. That was one move. Also to bring out the knight here coming this way. That was another choice, but instead it's gone for simple castles. This is also very popular. It's the second most popular move. And now there is a clear threat actually to the pawn on e5. The reason this couldn't be taken before, or well, it could be taken before, is because the queen comes down to d4 and immediately threatens mate and makes a double attack on the knight on e5. So once white castles here, then the f pawn is defended, and once that pawn is defended, knight takes e5 becomes a threat. So black needs to find a way to defend this. So there we are. So there are different options, many different options, and perhaps you could tell us what you think. How would you, with black, defend that pawn, which is under attack, your e pawn on e5? You have several choices, and there's no clear consensus which is the best one. You can defend it indirectly, by the way.
So probably I would put my pawn, which is on 7c.
Sorry?
This one, right?
What do you want to do with that?
To move it closer to this pawn, which is
You can't move it this way, my dear.
Oh. Yeah. Probably I didn't play for too way long.
This would be illegal. So
breaking the rules.
Yeah. So queen e7 is actually one of the main moves, defending, and knight d7. So that's a retreat. That has been played by a number of players. So this, from this square, the knight defends the pawn. It's a slightly clumsy looking move because, of course, it blocks in the bishop on c8. So it's on the other hand, if we just go back at this, we see in this position the knight is not optimally placed. From there, it's well defended, and it's not on a very useful circuit. So knight d7 is a sensible defensive move. Okay, so now we're seeing bishop e3. This has been played. And we're already getting down to not many games remaining. So what is happening here is that maybe Ju Wenjun is trying the lesser trodden paths with the intention of, let's say, getting her opponent out of the open, out of her memorized theory, and trying to force her to play off her own bat, really. So that is offering the exchange of bishops on this diagonal, and black has a choice here. It's not entirely clear what is the best option. Perhaps to exchange. Black could exchange, although after the recapture, this would allow the F file to be opened, which white could use the rook. So I think that is, although it is an option, I suspect black will do something else. Maybe to defend with Queen E7, sometimes even to, after this, it's also possible to perhaps retreat, and that is a sensible move. And even just to give extra defense this way. So there are many very where from here you defend your e-pawn very solidly, very stoutly. So can you tell me something about the how do the people view the match here in Vladivostok? Is it important, or is it insignificant?
Well, this is important, definitely, because the attention is very attached to this. Just general people, even those who are not like professionals in chess, they're just enjoying that, because like there are our sportsmen like Alexandra Goryachkina, who is fighting for this for the crown, I would say, and this attracts attention, of course, because like this is the sport.
And she's a Sasha like you, so that's always good. So she's a Russian Sasha. That's definitely a good reason to cheer her on.
Probably.
Yeah, and one thing I have said previously that Vladivostok. Well, what's the population here roughly of the city? Population. How many people live?
Population. So the population of Vladivostok is about 700,000 people.
700,000. So it's a reasonably sized city.
Yes, and as far as I remember, we even have the Federation of the region about chess, and in Far Eastern Federal University we also have the club of people who are interested in chess. So this is just students who gather in sometimes and playing, and they also conduct like local championships in university, and like spreading this culture to students of high schools. So this is as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yesterday, I attended the opening ceremony of the event, and there was a stark contrast between the event here and the one in Shanghai. In Shanghai, it was more to do with officials and people like that, whereas for this event, there were a number of members of the general public came along, and Russia is still a chess country. It is. Yeah, it's always had that, you know, in the good old Soviet days, it had that reputation, which died a little bit, but still, chess is an important part of Russian culture.
Yes, definitely.
And also interesting for me was the fact that, you know, sometimes I think in Moscow they're a little bit spoiled because they get so many of the
events,
the top events, and here
that is.
here we are. We're not very close to Moscow here, are we? What's the distance?
So, like, it's about 8,000 kilometers from Vladivostok.
I think it's even further.
It's even further, like about even 9, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty far.
Yeah. And so if I take a camel from Vladivostok, how long would it take? Well, maybe the train.
Would you love to? I doubt that you would love to do that.
Maybe not the camel, but perhaps the train. How long does that take?
It would take about 6-7 days by train.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe you can tell us also something, because you know, the people who join the broadcast, they don't really have an idea of the weather at the moment. It's a little bit crisp and fresh out there. Do you know what the temperature is?
So I don't know the exact temperature. I think it's
typically these days
-10, I guess. About -10 is typical for these days.
Yeah, but that's the high temperature, isn't it?
It is, but we live nearby the sea, and that's why it's kind of windy here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how warm your clothes is, you definitely get freezed sometimes.
Yeah. When I got off the plane, it was -23, and of course in the middle of the night it can even be colder than that. So get well wrapped up. That's what I recommend when you're here. It's not really t-shirt weather.
Well, yes. Probably in January it's not Russian winter. Yeah, so what are your impressions about the city? Did you have time to visit any places or...
Not yet.
Not yet, right?
I'm hoping you're going to take me around.
I could.
But you're very busy today, as I understand, this afternoon.
All right, so I have kind of busy schedule for this afternoon. I have our event, and after that I need to pass my exam and come back to you. So that's going to be tough, but I think I will manage.
Yeah. Anyway, we have a free day the day after tomorrow, so
so what
perhaps you can show me around.
Why not?
Excellent,
so
excellent.
What are you interested in? What are you interested in, actually?
I've just I've seen very little, and here we are on this Ruski island, which used to be a military base.
Yes.
So it was, I think, off limits for a time, so people couldn't come here.
People could not come here. So actually, the history of Vladivostok goes from the military port in the end of 19th century. So it was recognized as a city in the year of 1880. And only after that it was developed as a farpost of Russian Federation to, not Russian Federation at that time, but as for now, with Asia-Pacific countries. Yeah, so it started from the military and from the relations with China and... Yeah.
Well, I can just tell you very briefly, we'll come back to the game in a few seconds, but from the little that I have seen, I was hugely impressed with the views going over the bridges. You know, you have these high bridges going, and then you've got this spectacular views of the city, and with these warships and other ships and. And it's it has a beauty of its own. It's an industrial place, but it is nevertheless attractive. So let's see what we have. We've got a few more moves, which on the board, which somehow, let me see why this is not updating. I have no idea. I will need to get my technician. I'm clicking on auto update and it's not auto updating. So my technician is on his way, I can hear. So let's have a look, whilst we're getting that sorted out, let's have a look at the players. And we have seen, actually, there has been this pattern during the match of Zhu Wenjun playing the opening rather quickly. And then the moment she's out of her learned knowledge, she slows down. So we've seen it game after game that that Zhu goes ahead on the clock, and we see she hasn't used up very much time at all so far. But then she suddenly she lags behind, and Goryachkina catches up with her as the games go along. So it's a peculiar use of time, I think, by Zhu. And the one game she lost, she started to go wrong almost immediately that she came out of her preparation.
Wow.
So, you know, she didn't feel the plans in the position. And then she quite quickly drifted into difficulties. She had chances later on to save the game, but she drifted into difficulties. So here we see that here we see that she's deep in thought, and I suspect she's out of her preparation. Okay, I'm just looking at the wonderful technology here. The auto update was not updating. So, okay, a move has been played. So I think in a minute we will be back to our board. And okay, so let's recap where we were a few moves ago. So let me just go back here. So the bishop came to attack or offer an exchange of bishops, and so Goryachkina defended with her queen. Queen e1, it's a slightly unusual move, actually. It's not a bad move, but I would say slightly unusual. Maybe she wants, after bishop takes bishop, to take back with the queen. That is quite possible. And black castles. knight comes to c3. So the Chinese player is ahead in development. She's brought out her minor pieces, all her minor pieces, both knights and the bishop onto a good square, whereas black lags a little bit in development. In particular, the knight it has not found its best outpost yet, and at the moment that is blocking the diagonal of the bishop. Black should normally want to put this this knight, try and maneuver it here. That's the optimum square, which controls some important squares in the black position, but that will take some arranging, and you don't always get time. You know, you make your plans, and it's the problem with generals on the battlefields. You know, they think, well, I'll do this, and do this, but then
sometimes it doesn't work.
The other side can make moves as well. And
have the better plan.
Yeah. Great.
Vladivostok.
Yeah.
Coming back to
Vladivostok. Yes. Oh, yeah. It's. I said actually at the opening ceremony. I mean, I'm coming all the way from England, and I feel like I'm at the end of the earth here. So if I travel any further, I will fall off the end of the earth.
You will probably go to Korea, Japan, or China then.
I'm just having little comments in my earpiece that it's not the most eastern part of the country. I know that, but it feels like it is. So, yeah.
Because the sea is so beautiful and endless.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, and I have one friend in England, and his family were involved in doing the last bit of the Trans-Siberian Railway. They actually won the family won the concession for the bit from Manchuria to Vladivostok.
That's interesting.
And it's a good friend of mine, Robert Skidelsky, Lord Skidelsky as he is. He's the only Russian in the House of Lords. He wasn't actually born in Russia. He was born in Harbin, which of course had a very substantial Russian influence at one time. So
did he enjoy this experience?
What? Of what?
Like of traveling in the end of Trans-Siberian?
Well, actually, he's only visited. Only, I mean, his family got the concession at the end of his ancestors of the end of the 19th century. But then they, with the revolution and everything, they weren't really in favour of people who owned vast estates and had lots of money, so they got out. Okay, so what else have we got? What else have we got here? Now let me see. What are the likely possibilities? Black is at the moment playing sensibly. She's brought the rook to e8, which is giving additional defense to the e5 square. And actually, it's also a little bit prophylactic as well, in that if white should advance in the center, the pawn will capture, and then the rook will be even better placed on the e-file. It will be bearing down on this e-file. In fact, even in the direction of the queen. So it's an anticipatory move there. But there is another point to the rook coming over to e8. It's freeing up this square for the knight. A minute ago, or a few minutes ago, I explained that e6 is very often the optimum square for the knight in this type of position. So I think she's preparing sooner or later to bring the knight round to e6. It can also get there by a shorter route if white takes. The knight can take, which of course opens up this diagonal, and then after suitable protection of the e5 square, the knight can come back. So these are the things that are happening right now. It's very much a closed game. As we see, so far there have been no pawn exchanges. You normally get pawn exchanges quite early in the game, well, in many openings. But as yet, we haven't seen that. So we're here in, what's the name of our university here where we're holding this? Tell us.
So something about the university.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the Far Eastern Federal University.
Yeah.
And this is quite, like, in the same time, the oldest institution on the Russian Far East and the youngest.
Yeah.
Because actually it takes its roots in the late 19th of the 19th, no, so in the end of 19th century, and from the Oriental Institute, which was established to prepare like human resources to operate with Asia-Pacific countries, especially like with China, and people coming here were studying languages like Chinese, Manchurian, Mongolian, and other...
Korean.
Korean?
Yeah,
sure,
and we
definitely.
should be pointed out we're pretty close to Korea here.
Yeah.
We're even closer to China, but China is not very far at all.
Yes, it's like we have the territories which are really nearby.
Yeah.
So, and actually, the Far Eastern Federal University was established in the year of 2012.
Yeah.
Like coming and bringing together 4 universities of Primorsky territory, and like after the APEC summit, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, gave kind of symbolic key to students of the university and granted this campus for scholars, students. And so that was kind of really.
And I was talking to the FIDE president yesterday, Arkady Dvorkovich, and actually he was involved in the decision to develop this campus.
That was a good decision.
It was a good decision. They were originally planning a casino here.
Oh,
yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah. So we could be playing.
Not chess. Not chess, right?
Well, we'd be betting on the moves anyway, at least in the casino. But instead, it's become quite a large campus, and how many students do we have in total here?
So in total, we have more than 20,000 students studying here, and more than 3,000 international students from, like, if I'm not mistaken, 74 countries. Yeah, so like
Good
pretty.
Grief.
Yeah.
Good grief. Do you have any Brits here?
Brits?
British people.
I'm not sure about British people.
No, it's too far.
That's too far. But actually, we have like students from Latin America, for example.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great.
So maybe after coming back to Britain, you will introduce our beautiful campus, and we will have some students.
I will recommend it. Yeah. If you like fresh weather,
beautiful nature,
beautiful nature, and delightful people, Vladivostok is the place. So a pause for Ju while she is thinking about her plan, and I think there's sort of this prophylactic move of putting the rook in the center of the board has dissuaded her from opening up the center too early. Now it's a question of plan. What should White's plan be? And it may be that White should bring the rook into the center in order to support the advance. Now she's captured. She's taken the bishop, which is I think it's like a small release of a small concession actually to do that, because I said that this is in a sense it's developing the black pieces. The pieces are they're coming out now, but it's not let's say that. Oh, she's done something else. I've got something. Oops, I've got another issue. No, she didn't play bishop c5. For some reason, I have no idea. This is not auto-updating again. Yeah. So my mistake. I apologize for misleading people. The very subtle move A3 has been played instead, which is deeply subtle. We'll come to that in a minute.
Probably we should have the third person on the table who is a technician
Yeah,
who would be
right.
updating.
Our technician is on his way. Perhaps we should install him here at the table. Great. So, one of the issues which I must point out, and it's actually been a bit of a problem here. I don't want to advertise our problems now that I'm a vice president of FIDE, the International Chess Federation, but it is the nature of very high-level chess tournaments these days that we are at severe risk of problems with cheating, and the biggest problem, of course, is that if you download an app, a free app, and put it on your, just take an app put it on your mobile phone, that will be stronger than the best human being, Magnus Carlsen. So just even on a mobile phone, you have tremendous power in your hands.
And you can practice.
Well, you can practice. The problem is that you can communicate the moves, maybe to the players on the table. There could be an issue with somebody giving some hand signals or something to suggest a move, which is computer analyzed. And we have struggled with this because really what has happened in the past few championships is that in 4 out of the last 5 men's world championships, there has been a situation where they have played behind a one-way screen. So the players are actually like in a goldfish bowl. The audience can see them,
but they don't see
but
anyone.
they can't see out. So it doesn't matter if somebody's waving to them and signaling frantically from outside of the goldfish bowl, because they won't be able to see anything at all. So at the last Carlsen-Caruana match in London, that was exactly what they had. As I understood, when we got here, there was no one-way screen to be found in the entire province.
Maybe.
I feel that perhaps some more consideration should have been given to this a little bit earlier with the planning, and perhaps people had not realized how big an issue this is. And of course the Chinese, who are not on home territory here, they want
feel unsafe.
It could any possibility of
unfair battle.
If somebody is communicating 2 moves during the course of the game, even 1 move, because at a key point during the game,
even 1 move is
it's probably enough to make that person world champion. These players are even, and if you have a very, very sharp tactical position where there's like 1 very good move available, and to communicate that during the course of the game, that would be a disaster for the integrity of chess. I should just say, incidentally, that of course, you have 2 very honourable players here who are, very fair and correct, but it's not enough to be fair. You have to be seen to be fair as well.
That's
and
true.
not to have those opportunities to for people to question the result. You want whoever wins whoever loses this match to at least feel, well, I tried my best, but it was a fair encounter. So I think there is an issue, maybe a little bit of lack of trust between the 2 sides, but This is sometimes what happens in sport when you have two very large, very proud nations. So, and to be honest, Russia has had some problems with WADA, with the.
Oh, really?
Did you notice that with being banned with the drugs? So so if you have some issues with state-sponsored fiddling of doping, then it's very important that in other things, well, doping is not a problem in chess, but computer cheating is a serious problem. Yeah.
Yeah, like this. This concern of Chinese side is pretty understandable because, like, all those conditions are very important. But probably, yes, as you said, there was like no such a glass which could cover our players, unfortunately. But for this reason, all people who could enter the hall which we are playing is now like empty, and it's closed from other people who would love to see the match. And only I guess like only judges, arbiters
that's right.
are present here. Like maybe some technicians.
There are there's hardly anybody in the hall. There are 3 members of the appeals committee who are also allowed in the hall, allowed to go anywhere, but I'm actually the chairman of the appeals committee, and I have my good friend Hamid over here from Malaysia, who's sitting in this room listening to this brilliant broadcast. So, what do you think? Do you think it makes sense to test people in chess for taking drugs? Magnus Carlsen, he was very upset with some drug testing during the World Rapid and Blitz. He found it a very big distraction, during that event. So this is what I've heard, that he was, of course, he complied, but it's not the main problem with the game. What would you think about that?
So probably that kind of have a chance to survive this idea to test people on using special medicines which could kind of foster their brain before the game, I would say. But that's kind of difficult. Person can take like various medicine which could have kind of related effect, and that would be really difficult to identify what kind of drugs are would be allowed and would not be. So
I take psychoactive drugs that they make me smarter. Do you do that? Do you take psychoactive drugs yourself?
No.
No, I had 3 cups of psychoactive drugs at breakfast this morning.
I had only
I didn't
coffee.
know whether to go to have a latte or a cappuccino, but in fact I had filter coffee, and that is the world's most commonly taken. Well, there's also tea as well, but it's caffeine anyway. So comes down to that. So that makes you smarter for a few minutes until the effect wears off. So they have some regulations connected with this, but I think actually the main purpose is that a lot of federations, or a number of federations, they receive money from their sports ministries for chess. So when they are complying with these regulations. I think it's not actually required, but it's essentially a funding thing, so that we comply with the international body. But I'm drifting into dangerous territory because we're here in Russia, and then perhaps I shouldn't be talking about these things which are not resolved yet, but there has been an important judgment made against Russia, which of course is under appeal. So we shall see. We've got some more moves, which after a3, which is right. Okay. So I will go through the in my own mind what has happened here. Yeah. So after a3, the bishop retreated to d6, which is a solid defensive move, defending the e-pawn. And now the white knight has hopped back to d2 with the intention of coming up to c4. But mainly, we've lost our digital board. We've still got some technical problems there. But if we look at that, if we get a close-up of the screen, we will see that white also has the possibility now of advancing her f-pawn up the board. And this could even be played now. In fact, there are not actually that many chances to get that in. If she wants to play f4, it's probably best to do so at this moment to open up the line for her rook behind. So you notice how the times are, if we look on the clock, which is ticking down, this is indicating the remaining time. So white has 1 hour and 10 minutes remaining. They have to make 40 moves before that time expires. And once 40 moves are reached, each side will get an extra half hour. And they're playing, I should just point out, also with 30-second increment. So each move that is made, they gain 30 seconds. So you can, you will always have a bit of time on your clock, unless you run out, of course. Yeah, if you run out, you lose the game. So big thing. I'm not quite sure why this is requires a significant. I don't know why this requires a significant think. But she's gone f4. f4 has been played. So, as expected. And that's a question now for what black should do. What should Goryachkina do? So I think normally you would take that, you would normally decide to capture, because otherwise white will gain space by advancing that pawn with f5, which could become dangerous towards the black king. So I think she will capture this. She's having a think. She's probably not thinking about this move so much as more as preparing her next move.
Mm-hmm.
After the capture, then the pawn will be recaptured by the bishop, the white bishop. The white elephant, which has a different meaning in English.
I know.
For the non-Russian speakers, the what we call in English the bishop is a slon, isn't it? Yeah, it is an elephant, which shows the Indian origins of the game.
Right.
You don't have many elephants here in Vladivostok.
Unfortunately, no.
Do you have any exotic animals around here?
So we have kind of the treasure of Primorsky territory is Amur tiger, and actually even once a year in Vladivostok we have a special parade to celebrate, like to praise the Amur tiger, and a lot of people, especially like kids, students, they really enjoy this event because it's really colorful and beautiful. Yeah.
Great, great. It looks like, so the capture has happened and the recapture immediately. It appears that we're now going to have a report. So we will take a short break and be back with you in a few minutes. So join you then.